Hi, it's me, Dr. Paul Gerhardt, and today I wanted to talk about diversity and discrimination. This is a really big topic in the workplace today, and it really isn't about telling organizations what they should do. It really is about doing the right thing for the right reasons. And of course, there are laws in place that organizations need to follow in order to make sure that they're not discriminating against people. But really, in the longer run, just like any policies, they should be in place to help organizations be the best they can be. We've found in our research that organizations, generally speaking, that hire for diversity and create a culture that leverages the differences of people, the unique talents and ideas of what people have to bring, generally speaking, they're much more successful than organizations that don't even recognize the potential of discrimination and therefore don't follow the policies and laws. Granted, we know that getting sued, organizations that get sued affects the bottom line, but organizations really should be recognizing that if they are not doing audits to make sure that their organization is in alignment with effective diversity management policies and best practices, they may be missing the boat. So, very often, even still to this very day, some organizations, for instance, have men who are being paid more to do work, the same as the female counterparts, or people of minority status, and that's a problem, and it's illegal. So some managers give higher performance appraisals to people who are Caucasian and men, and they do so maybe innocently because of biases. People are meeting expectations and according to what they think needs to look like, which is a manager's prerogative, but they may be undervaluing what people who don't think like them and look like them really can bring to the table. So this really is important to think about. There's more than one ways of doing things, and when you hire a demographic of employees that is reflective of the demographics of the organization, of the people who consume the products or services of your organization, chances are the needs are going to be met even more effectively. So there are a lot of laws that have been passed over the years to help protect the rights of people. You've probably heard of the Civil Rights right, or the Equal Employment Opportunity, or Affirmative Action, or the Equal Pay Act, the Age Discrimination in Employment Act, Vocational Rehabilitation Act, the Vietnam Era Veterans Readjustment Act, Title VII Sex Harassment, and pregnancy discrimination laws. So, granted, there are a lot of laws that need to be followed, and it just makes good sense to be doing the right thing for the right reasons anyway. It makes the organization look good when people are treating people equitably. It makes the organization look bad when you have leaders who don't understand and are treating people inequitably. So it's not just about getting sued. It really is about recognizing that if you leverage and manage diversity properly, it could have many benefits to organizations. Granted, it's true that you have to hire the most qualified person for the job, and sometimes organizations really have to take a look at the bona fide occupational qualification. This essentially says that it is legal to discriminate on the basis of religion, sex, national origin, when it is reasonable and necessary. And that's really important to understand. For instance, if there is someone who is educated in criminal justice, and she may look like on paper 100-pound female to be the best qualified candidate with education to be a prison guard, for instance. But it's a male's high security prison. They technically could discriminate in that case against her because it wouldn't be safe. I like to use the example of a church who's looking for an administrative assistant to help the pastor write sermons or do things related to helping educate parishioners or church members. And if someone from outside of the church applies for this job and doesn't get the job, they probably couldn't win in court because of the bona fide occupational qualification caveat. So there are some cases where it is legal to discriminate, but for the most part, most organizations really must be aware of doing the right thing for the right reasons and the laws that are put in place to help make that happen. Think about the value of diversity. If an organization has all Caucasian males in their leadership team at every single level, and you have people of color and women who want to rise up the ranks, maybe they won't be so motivated to do so in your organization if it looks like as I described, because there's nobody there. And it may be a sign that leaders in that organization are trying to find other people that think like them because that's the only right way of doing things. Well, there are many ways of doing things, and diversity brings greater creativity and innovation to organizations. So leaders should take a step back and be aware of how their mental models may not be serving them so well. There are, of course, legally protected groups based on race, color, and national origin and religion. Religious beliefs are protected, and as a matter of fact, employers need to accommodate employees. So if you've got a Jewish employee working for you and there's a Jewish holiday that would require them to have time away, they actually should be given that time off. As long as it's reasonable, and that's the important thing to consider. So, older workers, if you're 40 years or older, you're actually protected against discrimination too. So, if an organization has an applicant that is over 40 and his or her resume is experience and education meets and exceeds those qualifications, and they hire someone less qualified, that organization could potentially be sued for discrimination. And same thing with letting people go. It may look like you are being discriminated against for age if you're let go and someone younger replaces you. So these are really important considerations too. People with disabilities are protected, and organizations need to make sure that they're hiring qualified applicants with disabilities, and they need to make sure that they accommodate them in an appropriate way. Records really show that people with disabilities generally have fewer workers' compensation claims, which is an interesting caveat. One of the most interesting things about protected groups actually is people with drug or alcohol problems. If someone has been identified to have a problem with a substance, that's actually considered a disease. So they may have to be accommodated accordingly too. Sexual orientation is not protected by the EEOC, which is kind of an interesting law, but that may change in years to come. Sexual harassment, according to sources, is any unwanted behavior of a sexual nature. And so if something related to sexual harassment happens, your company can be there may be a lawsuit filed against them. It's not a good idea to date coworkers. If a relationship starts to flourish in the workplace, things may fall apart later, and that could create really tense situations. There should be no place in the workplace for sexist language and behavior, period. It's not professional. People shouldn't feel insecure about work. Don't treat anybody in a harmful way. Even language is harmful, and it's even more harmful than, probably as harmful as doing inappropriate things in the workplace. So, create plans to help manage diversity and show respect for people of differences. Differences means more ideas. And if you feel that you have a complaint because your rights have been violated, you should, one, as a manager, really listen to the complaint and then paraphrase it back to the person. Two, have the complainer recommend a solution. Three, schedule time to get all the facts and make the decisions. And then four, develop and implement a plan and then follow up on it. So really, organizations need to do the right thing for the right reasons, and that means every leader really needs to value the differences that people have to bring. We're a lot more than the color of our skin or hair or lack of hair or religious beliefs. We all have something to bring to help make the organization better, but it really is up to leaders to find ways to value and leverage diversity to make the organization flourish. The biggest cost in doing business, really, generally speaking, is related to employee turnover. When employees don't feel welcome or safe, then they leave, and it's very expensive to recruit and hire, go through the hiring processes and onboard new employees and train them properly, and then to lose them because they don't feel listened to, understood, or valued, or they feel discriminated against. Essentially, you'll be losing that investment in that employee, and you're going to be making your competition stronger. So it just makes good sense to have diversity thinking in mind. Diversity really is about differences, recognizing that what's in here really can add value to the organization. So that means leaders at all levels need to be representative of the demographics of the people that are being served. So that's what I have for you in a nutshell on diversity and discrimination. Do the right thing for the right reasons. Understand the laws and really value people. Thanks so much for your valuable time. I appreciate you watching the video. I hope that you have a great day, because only you get to choose how you